welcome to Primetime, everybody. Tonight we have a very special episode because Shudder has done their moment, so I decided to turn this into a game of sorts. So, how this is going to work? I've got the top 10 movies that they have put on their list. I will give Chad and Kerri, my co host, the movies, and then they have to tell me what moment from those movies they chose as the
Okay.
scariest from that film. So we're doing just like a little game tonight because I couldn't think of anything else and I didn't have time to watch any movies. So, Chad and Kerri, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. I think our only hesitance with this game is hopefully we've seen the movies.
That's true. Yeah,
If
I
not,
did
I'm
we'll,
think.
pretty.
if not, we
It's
can get.
it's mostly very popular movies from the top 10. So
Okay. Yeah.
Do we probably?
I'm there might
That's
be
fine.
one that you guys haven't seen, but you guys can probably figure out the scene from it if that makes any sense.
Yeah, the scariest. I'm
hmm
scared and excited. Let's do this.
All right, so yes, I watched the top 10. So we will start right now with the number 10 on the list, which is the Japanese movie Ringu,
Okay.
aka The Ring, in the American audiences. So, on Ringu, what do you guys think is the scariest movie moment?
Well, we did watch this one recently. Because when we're thinking of Ringu, not The Ring.
hmm
hmm And she crawls out of the TV in Ringu, right?
She does at the very end, and I'm thinking that's
I think
probably
that's
it,
it.
because the majority of this movie is a lot of research. Because
It's
I know
pretty
it,
slow.
because I know it starts with the scene, and it's like the two girls and stuff, but like I feel like you don't even see what happens there.
Yeah, you don't see I don't think you see an attack. I think you just see the aftermath.
But I remember it was kind of really well done with the tension building
Oh
up, and you're
yeah.
wondering what's going on. Ringo's a great movie, but I don't think that one comes close to the actual ends when you think it's over, or at least the main character thinks it's over. And
Well, and I guess it's not the very end of the movie, but it's when they fish her body out of the well. They've kind of gone home, and then her ex-husband is the one who's
yeah,
killed.
he's the
Yeah.
one that gets attacked, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, oh, we
And
thought
that's
it was
nearly
over.
the end of the movie. I think there's one or two more scenes after that, but
Okay. Well, yeah. I think it's that. I think it's I don't think her name's Samara in that movie, but
oh, it's a Sudaku.
something like that. But she
I won't look it
I
up.
think that is the moment is when she comes out of the TV finally, and we see it.
You get a point. It is
Oh,
uh,
we did a
Sadako
roundabout way of
comes through the TV. Yep, that
what is
whole
the
that whole
name?
uh, Sadako.
Sudaku. Okay.
Sadako.
I
I
knew it
could
was
be
something like.
mispronouncing the fuck out of that name, so
Yeah, same. I'm not good at any pronunciation ever.
I'm gonna look it up real quick, but yeah,
me neither.
go on to the next one.
All right, number 9 is another Japanese movie, Train to Busan.
I love that movie. We haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I also love Sadako. Sadako.
Sadako. There we go.
I love Train to Busan. The problem with Train to Busan though is because you've said I haven't seen it in a long time. I do think this is one of the best like zombie movies I've ever seen. Um, I'm wondering if it's because it starts off like really uh intense. I feel like I think it's maybe that like first zombie attack, or it can't be like when like spoiler alert when like he becomes a zombie because that one's more dramatic. I feel
I'm
like.
trying to. I mean, I think the problem for me is I'm only remembering the emotional parts of that movie. I'm not
Yeah.
really remembering the scary parts.
Yeah, like if there's a unique jump scare, like even Sadako coming out of the TV isn't like a jump scare. That's like just really terrifying.
But it's like unexpected,
it is
right?
unexpected.
Like
Yeah. Um, but I'm trying to think about something that's like iconic scary. Like Ringu Sadako coming out of the TV is iconic. Yeah, all I can think of, I feel like there's one part where they were like trapped in a train car or something like that.
I do remember them being trapped. I don't know. I just can't. It's been so long since we've seen it.
I'm trying to pull some other thing because I know there's like some where they're like barricaded in a door. Yeah, I'm either thinking about like when it immediately starts and someone like, kind of runs out of a thing or whatever, or when they're trapped in like a train car. Do you have any other things that you're thinking of?
No, I mean, honestly, I literally barely even remember those parts. Like,
all right. I guess we'll just say when they're like trapped inside of a train car. I don't know.
Nope. The correct answer is the train dragging a horde of zombies behind it. So there's a horde mountain of zombies being dragged by the train in the film on the train tracks. So they're just like kind of building on top of each other.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that was such a fantastic movie. But I do agree with Kerri. I think the actual deep parts of it are the best parts. But like, it's been such a long time since we've seen it.
Yeah, I don't even remember
that I really
that
want
shot,
to
which is
revisit
surprising.
it soon.
I remember a similar shot from World War Z where there's like a wall and they all pile to the wall.
I actually never saw that one, but I do know the shot you're talking about because it's like in a trailer, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely one we have to rewatch though, because I remember the emotional parts pretty well and not the actual
but
scares.
But you can see a pattern already with this list as Ringu and Train to Busan. They're both like very good horror movies, but they also have like dramatic elements. They have like, good like character arcs from like the main characters. They're just actually trying to research and trying to figure out what happened. Well, at least in Ringu, and then in Train to Busan, it's like the connection between him and his daughter and stuff like that. So, and then they're like, yeah, but these movies are scary too. So, that's okay. We got one wrong, but we didn't remember that part.
Yeah, this is a movie that I've been meaning to watch, but I'm definitely going to watch it because I believe it's on Shudder now. So
okay,
I have access to watch it.
That's such a good movie.
It's really good, yeah.
All right, are you guys ready for number 8? This is a movie I have seen, so we can talk more about it.
Yeah.
And so far, these have been foreign films, or foreign to us at least.
This one is not a foreign film. This one is the great Scott Derrickson film, Sinister, at number 8.
All right.
I think it's the lawnmower thing. Do you remember?
I don't. Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing about Sinister. Sinister has two separate things. One is the actual like Super 8 footage of the like brutal grisly murders that he watches in his dark room. And I do think that those are the scariest parts of that movie. I honestly could actually have done it without a lot of the jump scares that happen. I think it's kind of like trying to be two different movies in that way. But it does with like, Mr. Boogie. They always have like, jump scares with him and stuff like that. So it's either that, one of those, like you're talking about, like, I guess the lawnmower.
The lawnmower one's one of the Super 8 things.
Or just the image of them hanging. Or there's also like the unexpected moment. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Sinister.
He said he's seen it.
No, I'm not talking just for Hunter, but anyone watching. When his daughter like kills him or whatever at the very end. Could be another at the very end type of one. That's
like psychologically scary, but I don't know. It's not like viscerally scary like I think some of those films are.
Well,
I think at that point you kind of almost expect it, I guess.
So if we can't choose like all of the films, like the Super 8 films, that's the moment. Then why did the lawnmower ones just stand out?
That's just the one I remember the most.
Okay, and that's probably why it stood out. I remember, wasn't there one with like the car and like gas or something, or?
Yeah, but that doesn't seem
not really
like as scary.
Yeah. Okay. So we either go. So you think it's the lawnmower, not the very end?
I think so.
And it's not any of the jump scares like Mr. Boogie in the yard or in the
I
attic.
guess it could be, but there's like a lot of those, so it's kind of hard to pick one of those and say like that's the scariest part.
All right, so I think we're gonna go with what jumped out to Kerri like the most or initially is the lawnmower like Super 8 footage. Yeah,
That is correct. The lawnmower scene in the videotapes.
I like how we basically were like, all right, what are all the scary parts of this movie?
Yeah.
Let's deduce this, and then it was like, oh, it's the thing Kerri said the first time.
Yeah, that scene actually terrifies the fuck out of me because one, it has a great mix of that like you're kind of looking in the background for something in these videotapes, and then you're not noticing what's right in front of you, which is a body that comes in front of the lawnmower. And what's great is it doesn't have to show you the gore and the blood of the lawnmower going over the head. It like cuts to Ethan Hawke's character, who is ghastly and shocked at what's happening. So you kind of put two and two together of like, oh, this is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and if you're scared enough, you're looking away, and you might think. I mean, that's how a lot of early films, like when I was younger, I would just I would look away and assume it was showing all these horrible things, and in reality, it's not actually showing half of what I think it is.
Yeah,
the imagination is way worse.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just like the way, just like the vibe that Scott Derrickson was able to create with, him sitting in a dark room, showing that stuff. You're expecting maybe like some sort of jump scares or something like that, but like that footage of just stuff happening, him watching like evil happen on screen is just way scarier than any jump scare that happens. Mm-hmm. Even if those are startling, that Super 8 footage is going to stay with you way longer than any
Yeah, it's just the style it's filmed. It's the fact that people are like, because they're kind of like killing themselves, or at least that one, it kind of seems like it, but...
Yeah.
I don't think it goes into happening territory.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm mixing them up a little.
I will say, Scott Derrickson does really tense horror scenes really well, like in The Black Phone, where it's like the house witch. I think where it's like that his sister found the house he's in, but really she found where the bodies are hidden next door.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, it's like her brother is next door at the other house, kind of like a great play on the Silence of the Lambs, where she goes to the wrong house, but it's next door.
Yeah, and
it's definitely not. I don't think it is like anyone killing themselves, because remember the hook is that
it's the kids doing. But I don't think it's the kids doing.
You don't
until the very end.
Or not. Almost the end.
And then I'll say that Sinister, until I think the last year or two, held the position of like, there's a study that someone does of like the scariest horror movie, and they sit people down, and I think they take their blood pressure and their pulse and stuff while they're watching the movie. Sinister held the scariest movie position for a long time.
It's like heartbeats per minute or something like that.
Part of it, I think you have to factor in, is like it was overtaken by Host, which is a Shudder original film. I think you have to...
Host is really good.
It's really good. I think you have to factor in, are you watching a movie you've never seen before, or are you watching a movie you've seen before and you kind of know what's going to happen?
That's true. Yeah. They were both very well done in creating that tension, and especially with Host, because it's like right now, if something horror started happening, we're in like a Host kind of situation right now.
We are, yes.
Sure. Hunter, if I was just like, oh, by the way, Hunter, on this episode of Welcome to Primetime, we hired a psychic, and then
I'm gone. I'm leaving.
And another one, and then she's like, I sent something, and Hunter's
I'm out of here.
I wish I still had. I wish I still had my glow in the dark Ouija board.
Wait, you have one of those?
I had one, and then I think I got into that thing where like I was like, oh no, if you mess with Ouija boards, you're gonna invite something in, which I don't believe anymore. And I'm sad I got rid of it. But
speaking of Ouija boards, number 7 is The Exorcist.
Oh yes! Oh,
I love that movie. So that one, I don't know if they go director's cut. I don't know if they go, okay, so you have the spider crawl down the stairs. That's pretty scary. You have the head turn. That is very scary.
That's the first thing
I know a lot of people go like, oh, it's like underrated. The actual like the hospital parts are very scary, and like them basically torturing this little girl. So that's one, or that's three. And then there's also like the subliminal imagery that they show, like with the face and stuff like that. But if we're talking iconic, I'm thinking head turning around.
I'm in agreement with you.
What do you have any other thoughts?
The only other one I can think of is where she's like stabbing herself. But I think that's the same scene where her head goes around, and I think that's the scarier part when her head goes around.
I think the head turning around
is during
like
the exorcism.
Well, it's actually it's later, but also earlier on. Like it's not in the final minutes of because a lot of the action in that movie happens in the final minutes.
Yeah,
like it's a lot of build up.
I do think it's her turning her head around though,
and I feel like that would be a great moment to have because it holds up so well. The makeup is insane, and it's not like this thing that's like not like a jump scare. It's not like it just happens, and it's just like so unnerving, and just the way they filmed it and executed it was excellent. So you want to go with that one?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Head spinning around, Exorcist.
So they actually chose the masturbation with the cross.
Oh, okay.
She brought that up.
I did. I didn't think that was gonna. That is the scene where I definitely hid my eyes the first time I watched it.
So it goes from that scene to Reagan pushing her mother to the floor, which was the actual like jerking of her being put, like actress being pushed as well.
Yeah, and she like messed up her. Well, she didn't mess it up, but her back was messed up for like.
Yeah, there's a lot of actually like really terrifying moments that you just even forget about until you're watching the movie again. But like I kind of disagree with this one. I think the head spinning around is the more iconic, scary part.
I'm gonna say I don't remember if I hid my eyes by the time she was like spinning her head around. I think I could see because that's the first scene really, besides like the spider walk down the stairs. I think,
which is in the director's cut, so you don't see it every single time.
Yeah, you're not counting that. That's really the first time in the movie that you know something is really fucking wrong.
That's true. So if it's like the first time, then I can see it.
It's very shocking. Like you just don't expect that to be happening.
I just feel like more people talk about the head spin.
I agree with that.
Especially like I could see it also being disturbing the fact that this is a child as well that's masturbating with the cross, and it's like that's just disturbing on like multiple levels where it's like 3 or 4 levels deep of like fucked up.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, is it scariest moments or most disturbing? Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know.
It can be, disturbing as an element of scariness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about The Exorcist? Like maybe your favorite scenes or maybe some scenes that...
I mean, shit, dude. We could go go on and like talk about this one just for an entire episode.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a phenomenal movie. It's up there with someone, saying it's the greatest horror film ever made. It's that good. And I'd actually love to rewatch that one and do it. I think if favorite scene has to be for me, not the final scene, but the final confrontation between Pazuzu and the priests, because it's just like all action, all it just happens it's so realistic. Like they don't overdo it and they don't try to like make it like too like Hollywood and like over the top. And it just feels real. And I think that's why a lot of people who are like uber religious just could not handle that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can barely handle that movie. It's very scary. Kerri?
It is scary. Yeah, I would say my favorite is actually my favorite scene because before I was allowed to watch the movie, and I still watched the movie before I was allowed to, but I was able to read the book before I watched the movie, and I think one of the scenes that was pulled off well in the movie is just like when the demon Pazuzu is like tricking Damien, is like talking about his mother, and then he like kind of sees his mother for a second. Like
yeah.
that to me was always like my favorite scene in the book and in the movie.
And every time I've seen anybody kind of like redo, like I'll say Hunter, a little bit of a spoiler, but in the show Angel that you'll get to at some point, they actually have kind of an Exorcist type episode. And they use similar. You don't even remember this, do you?
Oh, I kind of remember it.
And you have very similar things where the demon's very smart and tries to trick you and just knows a lot about you. And honestly, if I were in that priest's shoes, I would be terrified too. Like he knew everything about you and was taunting you.
Yeah.
So
6. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, are you guys ready to move on to the number 6?
Yes.
Number 6 is my favorite horror movie, The Shining.
Okay.
The Shining's fantastic. We just watched this the other day.
Oh, what's the scariest?
Well, right now, what are we, Hunter? 2 for 2? 2 for 4, I mean?
Yes.
Okay. The Shining. All right. So you have him doing the big wheel around the corners and then ending up with the little twins. Come play with us, Danny.
I don't think that's scariest.
That it's pretty scary. You have that, and then you have the moment with Jack Torrance in the bathroom and the old woman.
That's pretty fucking scary.
Because it's, just like a regular naked woman, and then it turns into a really creepy old woman that's like, looks like she's been in the swamp for a long time. That's very scary.
You have
There's
blood from the elevators.
That's a very iconic scene. Could be very off-putting. I agree. Even though I don't find it scary personally. But I definitely could see an argument for it being the scariest moment, because it is one of the first moments that you see. And then there's him chasing her down with the axe.
Yeah.
But that's a very long moment because it's him, chasing like slowly following her up the stairs, and then you have him hacking down the door and her screaming, which is another.
That's extremely iconic.
So
I would say to me, like, the scariest is that bathroom scene, but I don't know if that's what would universally be considered the scariest.
I think personally, myself, the scariest moment is the big wheel and him stumbling onto the girls.
Interesting.
Because I am always afraid of going around a corner and something is there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so brilliant how it happens. He's just because you're following him with that kind of point of view perspective. You're following right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I love how he does the camera. And then the jump scare noise that happens, the musical cue that something's about to happen, happens a split second before he turns the corner, and then you see them and they come back, and that it's like ghosts, and I don't know, ghosts are scary. So, but you're thinking hacking away the door.
Well, I don't know. Is that the scariest part of the movie?
Jack Torrance chasing down Wendy is very scary because you could see that happening to you if one of your family members just became deranged or, I guess, possessed by something.
Yeah.
Or, and just being trapped.
Yeah.
And him hacking away a door and seeing you.
Do you want to go with that? Since we can't decide between the two, we think personally are the scariest.
Wait, what did you say was the scariest?
The bathroom scene.
You're talking about the old woman one.
Yes.
I think it's probably the hacking away the door.
Okay.
If I were to think of what they might vote for. So, do you want to go with that one?
Yeah, let's go with that one.
All right, here's Johnny. That's it.
You guys should have went with your original. It's Wendy finding the typewriter and the same running the same phrase to Jack, and then Jack stalking Wendy up the stairs.
Oh,
okay.
It's a
That is also a very iconic part. Her seeing the, all work and no play makes Jack a dull
Yeah.
boy, and then being chased up the stairs. And a lot of this Mike Flanagan mimicked in Doctor Sleep, which is, oh my god, he did such a good job. But like, the roles were reversed, and but yeah, that is very, very scary. So I agree with that one. Even though
Yeah,
wasn't my
this scene
personal choice.
has one of my favorite lines probably in the movie, where it's like it's Jack chasing Wendy up the stairs. He goes, "Darling, light of my life."
Yeah, yeah.
This is the scene. That's the scene, though, you said, Chad, where they did like over 100 takes or something, and
They did
127.
127. It's a very famous thing, and that's the whole. I did this in a debate where I brought this up because of I was arguing Halloween was the greatest horror movie ever made, and my buddy Noah was arguing that The Shining was, and I brought up Shelley Duvall's very poor treatment in making The Shining, and we were all like, "Well, legacy, for something's legacy being the greatest something ever made, if someone was basically tortured the entire film, that kind of like hurts it." But like, and that's the thing is like, because the 127 takes to get it perfect. There's a lot of directors that do this to get the perfect shot or the right shot, or get an actor into the right like frame of mind or whatever. But yeah, she like apparently hurt her hands gripping that bat
yeah, because it's a wooden bat. Yeah.
for so long, and so it took like a mental and physical toll on her and stuff like that. But I mean, if it I don't know. I can't even really defend it if it created the one of the greatest like scenes ever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to say. Like, well, there's you got some iconic stuff out of it, but someone's life was.
What takes
hurt.
was he using though? Is he using a take 127?
early
Using
number
like
two.
take 50? Like even
Yeah, we don't know. I will say though, listening to interviews that Shelley Duvall has done, she does say that she agrees with the way that Kubrick goes about getting the perfect shot, and she said it was done in order to get that perfect shot, and that scene wouldn't have happened if he hadn't pushed her so hard.
But
So I don't know.
mean,
It's a gray area to me.
It is kind of a gray area, but I'm glad that directors really aren't given that leeway anymore to do that. Like, I love a auteur director who's like, I strive for perfection. Jackie Chan's like that, but normally he's hurting himself when he actually strive for perfection. But like, even if Shelley Duvall says that she's like, what, we made a great movie. He did a lot to, actually get me in that frame of mind. Sometimes people who have been abused don't realize how much they've been actually abused. So.
Yeah, or make excuses.
Sorry, were you seem like you were going to say something?
And oh man,
I'm sorry, I went on.
I feel like it would, that situation hopefully would be a lot different today. And like, I think some of the strategies that Kubrick used, like he intentionally like segregated her from the rest of the cast and kept her waiting.
Yeah.
I think it would be very different if that was something that was her choice and she said, to help me do this, can you like behave this way around me, or I'm going to behave this way? Like that's how some like I know Bill Skarsgård and it stayed away from the kids because he wanted there to be that fear relationship. But it's not like the directors were like stay away from the kids, and you have to be really mean and scary to them, and like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just
he basically like instructed the crew to be very cold to her. Don't listen to any of her ideas or anything that she has to say. And I know like he apparently was like also kind of horrible to other actors and stuff. But like, if we were to go today and you have someone like Jared Leto or something like that being really weird and problematic on set, nowadays they just get canceled. I feel like Stanley Kubrick, he's dead now, but
I don't know. I mean, they do get canceled. Sometimes they don't get to. It depends.
Like even like freaking David O. Russell is one that's like people are like he's weird with people on set, so a lot of people are like I don't like
Really?
movies. Yeah, it's like one of those things. But
Yeah, I mean, but people still, hire Woody Allen and watch Woody Allen movies. Like, I don't know. I think it really depends on the situation. And
yeah, it's another. We can talk about problematic
sorry, this
directors
is
in a
way
different
off
episode.
topic.
It's number 5.
That's fine. Number 5 is the classic 1960 Psycho.
Oh,
Well, I mean, it's one of two things.
yes,
It's the shower scene,
yeah,
and it's the finding out the mother's dead in the chair.
yes, yeah.
And I gotta say, it's definitely the shower scene. There's no other way. I don't think they go with the other one.
I think they could. I mean, this has been a little bit surprising, but I feel like the safe choice is the shower scene.
And you're right, because we went with the safe choice with Here's Johnny, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we think about it, like the shower scene, for the time, maybe that one's scarier because it's more unexpected. It is the first time that something goes down. And then you don't know what the hell's going on until later, especially if it's the first time you're watching it. And, you see some twisted man, in women's clothing killing someone. You don't see it, but then you have the iconic score. And you do see blood, don't you, in the shower?
You see it going down the drain, yeah.
But then with the other one, that's more of a jump scare. That's more of a, oh my God.
I would say that's more of the scare when on subsequent rewatches, that's the thing that scares me more.
I agree with you. The other one's more iconic, but this one I feel like is the more scarier moment because that corpse is gruesome looking and it still holds up.
Yeah. And you think at that point, you think it's the mother is doing the killing.
And then just the thought of him keeping his dead mother in a chair is scary.
Yeah.
I would say that
Let's do that one when it's revealed that the dead mom is in the chair.
It's neither that nor the shower scene.
Wait. Okay. If it's neither, let's see what else it could be. If Hunter will allow.
Go ahead.
Talking to himself.
Okay, so there is another moment where he comes out with the knife and then the guy falls down the stairs.
Yeah, that's true.
That's another good one.
That could be it.
There's a lot of other stuff where they're just hiding money in a car.
I don't know.
Like, what else could it be other than that other extra moment? Do you want to go with that one? I mean, we'll still get it wrong.
Is that the reveal of when he's like dressed up as his mom?
Yeah, I think so. He's got the knife.
Yeah.
The moment where he comes at a dude with the knife and he falls down the stairs.
That is correct. It is Norman killing the private investigator on the stairs. And
Interesting.
And they said that the reason why they picked that is because, one, you don't know who it is. You don't know if it's Norman or if it's Mrs. Bates. So that suspense is there because that's just before you know who the killer really is.
Yeah.
They said that the tracking shot of being in the first person perspective, seeing him fall from the stairs makes it scary because you can put yourself into that situation. It makes you feel like that could be you and you're looking into that character as he's falling back. Plus the technical of the camera being able to kind of flow it backwards like that as he's kind of in a POV shot.
Yeah, it's like that like Vertigo and him playing tricks with the camera. That makes
and
sense.
That's a shot that's been recreated since.
Yeah, I would agree with that, although I still think the mother one is scarier, but yeah. All right, so got that
number 4. One of my favorite international horror films, 1999's Audition.
Okay, you
Kerri's
haven't seen this.
I have not. I don't want spoilers.
I won't spoil it.
So I know that there's a lot of build up and there's like some problematic stuff with this dude, and then I know it ends very poorly for him at the very end, but I don't know exactly what happens. But maybe you can just like mention like what she uses or something.
Honestly, I have not seen this movie
A long
in
time.
10
We gotta
years,
watch this
maybe
movie.
more than 10
It's
years.
so good.
And literally the only thing I can really
Is this
remember
that Mike guy that does that movie?
Takashi Miike. Yep.
is and this is because this is my own personal gore thing that I can't handle. I don't like when people are eating things they aren't supposed to be eating.
Oh,
There's a scene where she
don't
makes
watch
him
Swallow.
Yeah, there's a scene where she makes him eat his own vomit. That's the only thing I can think of. I know there's definitely scarier stuff in that movie. Like
Body horror.
I think he's like still alive in like a body bag or something.
Oh.
Or like I don't know though. It's tough to say because this is one that I have not seen, and this is the one I haven't seen in the longest that we've talked about so far.
Hunter, if she's wrong and it's not the eating the vomit thing that she said, could you try to tell us what it is without a lot of spoilers?
I don't think this is really. I don't know how big of a spoiler this is though, because you pretty much know the basis of the film, the twist and everything like that, but you don't know exactly what happened. So this is me kind of like walking on eggshells. I'll say this. Assume me torturing our main character.
Oh, so it's just like the
it?
whole torture.
But there's one in particular that they bring up that I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
What is it like a specific like thing she uses?
Yeah, it's like an object that she uses.
What is it?
So I have Asami torturing and putting needles into our main character. So like
needles.
the acupuncture.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't say that because that is kind of the most iconic part of that movie. But
I need to check it out. I'm sad that I haven't seen it, but that is one rare one that Kerri's seen that I have.
It is actually one I normally wouldn't gravitate towards because it is a lot of the second half of it really is a lot of torture, but
I'm down to check it out.
I mean, I'm down to watch it.
I watched the Saws.
I've seen it once. I'll just have to look away during
the funny thing is like it starts off as like a romantic drama.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I'm excited to check it out. Interesting moment.
Oh yeah. All right, number 3 is one I'm excited to get into. Hereditary.
Hereditary is a lot of fantastic moments. That is another movie that I think someone could argue is the greatest horror film ever made because it's just so well done. And I know it's it's a divisive one, and I never understand that. Apparently, there's a lot of people in horror communities that do not like this movie. But we're going with Scariest. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a lot of Hereditary spoilers. Obviously, we're talking about a lot of moments and trying to decide between one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Charlie's head getting knocked off at the pole.
Yeah.
And then you have like the other ones that's a little bit harder to explain, like the scene between Annie and Peter in the bedroom with the fire and the gasoline. That's pretty scary because of like the shots you don't know.
Yeah.
And then you have like the part where Annie's like hiding behind his bed and she's like, Peter.
You have her sawing her own head off.
And then you have her, and I think this is probably it. Him in the bed and her just in the corner of the room on the ceiling. And it lingers there. And then it's kind of like that where it was like, I remember one of my favorite critics, Dan Murrell, said he just went to Hereditary screenings after he saw it the first time just to see people watching this one scene, just to see like when they would notice her in the corner of the top corner. And then they're like, oh my God, there's something in the corner. That's the mom. That's Annie in the corner of the room. Then she kind of floats away. It's really weird.
From that point on, and this is the first movie I have done this with since like middle school. I was like, this.
It's very scary. And then there's another part where he's kind of like walking around, and then she like, you see her this time, and she like chases him. And that's very scary.
I guess you also have the dad being lit on
Caught
fire.
on fire.
My personal top two are like Charlie's head coming off, but
Well,
that's like a whole sequence more.
I
than
would
like,
also say that more than just her head getting knocked off, it's just the jump cut to her head on the ground.
Yeah, and like
That
Tony
is
Collette
fucking
fucking
scary.
screaming, and you realize that she just fucking found her daughter like that. Holy shit!
I can't help it sometimes. I know it's bad, but I'll start laughing because I'm like, she's screaming and crying for like a good 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh
it's
my
fine
God,
on a rewatch.
lady.
I wanted to leave the fucking theater when
Oh.
I first saw that movie. I was like, oh my God, this
It's
is like
so effective.
this is too much for me.
Honestly, I think anybody who doesn't like Hereditary, I think just maybe like watches it from like a perspective of
There's not enough, like, it doesn't move fast enough. I think.
Yes.
slow burn, but then also like I just think like they laugh at it. Like instead of wanting to actually let this movie affect you, they try to, because I know Peter, like the way he whines sometimes is really kind of comical, but you know he's in a situation that's really fucked up, so it's like you understand why he would be crying like that. But I don't know. We can get into that another time.
And then my other scene is her chopping her own head off. But
I
don't
think
know,
her
you think
sawing
it's-
her head off is probably the scariest part of the movie. I agree with that. Because it's just like her eyes are wide, she's just doing this. And
Yeah.
But I think it might be
her in the corner.
her in the corner. I don't know.
If you want to say that, that's fine. We've talked about them. I think all the scary. So I don't think this is one where we're not going to.
Well, I mean, there's also the very end of them in the.
Yeah, I feel like
treehouse.
that's almost like that is scary, but I feel like that's almost kind of you're coming down off of like that previous scene, and him that ends with him like jumping out of the window. Because you kind of got some like
him
nice
seeing the naked
gentle
people
music,
in the attic and go, ah! And jumping
warm
out the window.
lighting.
That's actually kind of a funny part when he jumps out the window.
Naked people. Ah!
That is fucking. Oh yeah, all the fucking naked people. That was.
Harry's like naked people. That's the scary.
No, because
That's
they're in
for the
the
movie.
shadows, and then you just notice them. Like,
and they're like,
yeah, they're all shirtless. What do you want to go with? I'll defer to you. I can't decide.
I think it's something with Annie. I think it's or the Charlie's head on the ground.
That's
it's either Charlie's head on the ground, it's Annie sawing her own head off, or it's just her in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
But I think her in the corner might be the one that got people the most.
All right, let's go with it then.
Annie in the corner.
Nope, it's Charlie's death and Annie screaming on a shot of Peter. So Peter laying in bed, and you just hear her scream in the background. Yeah, the whole sequence.
Yeah. That is one of the best sequences of the movie, and just one of the best horror sequences ever.
I definitely understand going with that one because it is like psychologically the most scary.
And like the way that you like kind of know how this judging body is going, they're not always going the most iconic. Well, I think that is
the
most
most iconic one.
Yeah, because you don't expect Charlie to die.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah, I love Hereditary. I think I like Midsommar just a little bit more, but that's just personal preference.
I know there's like a whole like because those are like the two horror movies that he made, or two movies that he made.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there's you got the Hereditary people and the Midsommar people. Not saying you can't like both. I do.
I love both of them. I just think the contrast of the day I like better because it's more immersive in my opinion, but only because in Hereditary I like being on edge, but like that whole movie has me on edge. It's not fun on occasions. I think Midsommar you can have a bit more fun because of the characters, the dialogue, it being kind of shot like beautifully with like the blue skies, everything like that. The contrast of that I really like.
Yeah, it didn't work for me as much as some other people. But then again, I've only seen it once. I've seen Hereditary quite a few times, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We can do like an Ari Aster.
We need
episode at
to.
That
some
would be really
point.
fun. Yeah.
Do it like before like whatever his next movie is.
Yeah.
All right, number 2 is one I just watched on Halloween night, and I'm super excited to finally talk about it. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, it's the scene where the head is on top of the little.
What the hell are you talking about? The head is on top of the little.
Do you know what I mean? The guy's head, and then it's like this.
Okay.
It's like a spider.
So, Kerri, I don't know if Kerri's conflating a lot of different things here, but there, it's hard to describe a lot of the things that happen in.
What do you mean?
The
I'm
things that happen in
conflating
the thing.
things.
Well, you might not be, and I might just be not understanding what you're saying. But there's a lot of crazy shit that happens in this. There's a lot of slow moments, but then when you get to the stuff that happens, you get so. I don't think because you went straight to one thing. There's a lot of scary things in this movie. You have the chest opening up and like swallowing his hand or whatever. Does it? You remember like the stomach opens up like teeth and that really gets me. Then you have honestly, I think they probably went with the Petri dish. A lot of people go Petri dish.
I'm talking about
because of the suspense that happens with no one knows who is corrupted, and then McCready is doing the Petri dish stuff, and there's one that he does, and it goes up into his face, and that whole thing is very scary.
Okay, it's this. This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, so she is talking about the thing that goes into us.
It's like the dude's head on top of the little.
Yeah, the spider body with the head on top.
Yeah. So then you do have spider head. That goes and then the flamethrower it, and then you have that. You have the dogs all kind of like melding together.
Yeah.
That's scary. But then you have, which I think is one of the scariest, is the one where the guy's like head opens up and and then he like grabs the guy and he's like swallowing him. So you got like the guy flailing around being swallowed. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not
This
really.
is right after the Petri dish part. I'm telling you, this movie is so crazy. It's hard to describe anything in this movie without saying crazy shit.
It's so good.
There's a lot of body horror. There's a lot of things happening that shouldn't happen. I think it's probably the Petri dish. Kerri's going Spiderhead.
Yeah, we can differ actually. Let's just differ.
Okay, you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, Kerri thinks it's Spiderhead, which that's very scary. That's one of my scariest parts. I think that's one of the most iconic parts too, and it always gets me because I hate spiders. I think a lot of people, especially with this voting body, I think they're going to go. It's none of like the really crazy body stuff. It's the tension with the Petri dishes and the blood and the whatever. So that's what I'm going. You're going Spiderhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So the correct answer is the defibrillator going through the man's chest and biting off the doctor's hands.
So
okay, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yep, the chest opening up because it's so like shocking.
It is.
Yeah, because that's the first.
Yeah, and also like you're pretty sure he had a heart attack, so they're trying to bring him back to life, and all of a sudden just
that's
right through.
It is and
you're like, okay.
I can't disagree with that.
No,
that's
a
fucking
pretty
scary.
fucking good one.
And I find it hard to look at that.
The practical effects in this movie are insane.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's so good. Like I can't. What am I trying to say? I can't believe I waited this long to watch this movie.
I know. Yeah, you got treated this Halloween.
I did,
and now it's going to be one you're probably going to return to a lot because. A lot of people argue it's John Carpenter's greatest movie. I still say it's Halloween. But, The Thing, like if you're going to have blasphemy and say Halloween is not his best movie, you can't go wrong with The Thing. It's probably a perfect movie. It's great.
All right. So for this one, I'm going to have a little fun. What do you guys think the number one movie is?
Oh, yeah. What haven't we talked about?
I mean, I could probably say Halloween. I doubt it's Scream because I think that's one of the greatest ones, but I don't know if it has the scariest moments.
It's like the scariest.
And I don't know if Halloween. I think Halloween has some really scary moments, but I don't know if like based on this list, and if it's also one that tops The Thing, and Hereditary, and The Exorcist, and The Shining.
I can think of Kerri has that one fucking really scary moment.
I don't think it's scary. I don't think that would have the scariest scene ever. I'm trying to think. This is hard because it's based on scares. And going off this list, they've had foreign films, and then they've had like really iconic older films. They've had like one newer film with Hereditary. Auditions like 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's got to be an older movie that we haven't talked about yet, though.
Yeah, like I don't think it's like The Conjuring or anything like that. Oh, I was like, is that a hint? Is it The Conjuring? All right, we're not really on any good track here. Do you want to give us one hint, Hunter?
Yeah, give us a hint.
I can. I'm going to give you a hint that's not going to give it away.
Yeah, don't give it away.
It's an iconic slasher.
Okay, so then it's like a Halloween, Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw.
Nightmare on Elm Street. It might be Texas Chainsaw.
You know what? It might be fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
I would go with Texas Chainsaw.
All right, I'll go.
You got Nightmare?
I'm going to go Nightmare on Elm Street, but then say it could be Halloween. Okay.
Correct answer is the Texas Chainsaw.
Okay, all right, Texas Chainsaw, which is weird because honestly, I've never really found that movie scary.
Me either.
Or I know it's iconic. I know it's one of the first. So I know it's and there's something with hooks, right?
Yeah, there's that scene.
There's the thing where he gets defeated at the end and he's revving his chainsaw.
He's like chasing her while he's revving the chainsaw.
But then he gets mad and he's just revving it up in the air because he couldn't catch it.
Yeah.
And she's driving away. And then there's the dinner scene with all the kind of mutated people.
There's, she thinks she's safe at that gas station and the guy's with them and just brings her right back.
Yeah. All right, so there's either the end with the chainsaw, the dinner scene. I don't even know if I could describe the hook thing. I think like when he first comes out, like with his like apron on and shit.
Yeah.
The fucking man face.
Maybe the dinner scene. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, because it's been all over the place with iconic versus, and I don't know if the dinner scene's like iconic.
And that one, you like think the grandpa's like dead or something, like it's a dead body, and then he fucking moves.
That's right.
Grandpa is the best at killing.
That's right. That's a very. I kind of want to go with that one.
Let's go with that one. The dinner scene.
All right. The correct answer is Pam getting killed on the meat hook.
Okay.
So what's the hook?
It was the meat hook. All right.
It is indeed the meat hook.
That's
pretty scary.
That's the number one scary.
To be fair, Texas Chainsaw even today has unsettling moments because it does look so real.
That's my big argument for like Halloween and a lot of those movies back then. That just like because they look so, people will say dated. Like that's the word they would use, but to me, it doesn't really look dated. It just looks real.
Yeah.
It looks like it really could have happened. I think that's probably the hook. The hook.
Texas Chainsaw I usually find kind of funny when I'm
Hunter
watching
like that.
Interesting.
Wait, you said Texas Chainsaw is funny?
I always think it's kind of funny when I watch it.
Honestly, we've seen it a couple times. I don't know if you've seen it more than I have.
I don't think not the original. I've seen the remake once. Not with you.
I saw a remake once with like Jessica Biel.
Yes, that's one. That one scared the shit out of me.
I don't remember that movie like at all. But the original Texas Chainsaw, and I'm not trying to besmirch this movie and say it's not one of the most iconic, groundbreaking horror movies. It definitely is. I mean, like it's like even like X that just came out was like kind of trying to go off what Texas Chainsaw did. And I think the scariest part about that movie is how much it takes after like Ed Gein, because that's one of the scariest like serial killer cases that I could just think of.
Really?
Him keeping like body parts and like Tupperware, and making faces out of it. I mean, Silence of the Lambs comes
using women's bones as furniture.
Furniture and making stuff out of skin.
I guess in my to me that's not like, especially if you're grave robbing, to me that's not as scary as like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy, where they're like,
well, I mean,
just racking up these massive kill counts.
We're comparing like monsters and like evil here, and it's all scary and terrible. But
I'll say slashers have never actually really scared me that much. It's mostly been like the more paranormal stuff.
I can understand
that scared me.
I can understand that, but I can understand like slashers and home invasion, depending on like how well it's done. Like Funny Games. Michael
that is
Funny
very
Games
scary.
Is very
scary.
What is it? The
Strangers.
Strangers.
That's
the Strangers
the stuff
is
that
kind
scares
of like,
me as an adult.
The Strangers is kind of like another take on like what Michael Haneke did, I think. But definitely a great one. I really like that movie too. But yeah, that was fun.
That was
Hunter.
really fun.
That was
we only got like 2 right, but
but we mentioned a lot of the ones that were, and it's hard to remember moments of movies that like we knew a lot about The Shining, about The Thing, about stuff like that. Even though it's hard to describe things in The Thing, I think we did a good job like mentioning a lot of great moments and coming very close, if not getting it on the nose.
Yeah. Well, and I think it also shows that different things are scary to different people. Like,
yes, agree. Yeah,
that's really fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, looking at the top 10, there's not really a movie that I disagree with, and a moment from the movie that I don't disagree with. Like the meat hook is like an iconic scary scene, because one, your mind tricks you because you think you see blood in that scene, but there's no blood at all in that scene.
Yeah, a lot of those movies like that, like Halloween and
there's no blood. Yeah.
Do that as well. Let your minds do a lot of the work.
Yeah. Hereditary with Charlie's death, I think what's great about it is it comes out of nowhere, because you think that Charlie's our main character, and like in Psycho, they take that away from us in a iconic, like kind of shocking moment, and then immediately cuts to Annie by Toni Collette giving us a hell of a fucking scream, and man, it's so powerful. And then you got, of course, like The Shining and The Exorcist, and even like some really good like international movies like Audition is terrifying at the last half of it. Ringu is amazing because it's got that gritty like 90s feel to it. I think this is actually a really well balanced top 10 list.
Yeah. I really now, because the only gap I had was Audition, like was the one that I haven't seen. So I really want to go check that out soon now. Hopefully it's streaming. We don't have that on physical yet, do we?
I don't think so. It's not one I would have bought.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it one. I mean, I'll watch it again with you, but that's kind of one where I've watched it once and I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let me see if I can find if it's streaming anywhere. I don't think it is.
Yeah. So
Screambox.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
And it's also on Vudu to be able to rent.
Gotcha. Well, we'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, Hunter. I didn't know what to expect from this game, but because I thought we were going to be guessing movies, but then when you said no, I'm going to give you the movie, you guessed the moment. I thought that was really fun because then we got to go through the movie and like shout out some of our favorite parts, talk about the movie itself. We even got into like a Stanley Kubrick discussion, and just a lot of really fun like discussions here. We like even brainstormed some other episodes we could do. Like,
Oh yeah,
I don't know
the
if
Ari Aster episode.
Ari Aster. I don't know if they
Yeah.
actually do like problematic directors, but maybe.
I don't know. Because then it would be like almost all of Hollywood, and we'd be here for like 5 hours. So.
Yeah, and then and it wouldn't be like exclusively horror. We would,
and it would make us just absolutely depressed. So
I guess let's
get through it. Let's go.
Let's just end the episode. I don't know. I need a beer.
Yeah, or two. All right, guys. So that is the end of the episode. Chad and Kerri, where can people find you online?
Here.
Find Kerri here. You can find Kerri and Hunter a couple times over at my channel, Chadwick Webb, where we rank stuff. We did Christmas it was a year ago almost. We did Edgar Wright, we did Harry Potter, we did like 3 phases of MCU, about to do the 4th one soon. We did Scream, Evil Dead, Halloween, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. We're doing a big Disney animated ranking soon. It's like all 61 movies, and it's intense. We're still watching through them, but yeah, we like to rank stuff, and it's just really fun. So check that channel out, and then just check out my friend's channel, the channel or the Dill Pickle Movie Network, where we do a show called Picture This, and we talk about Oscar films. We talk about the best pictures, and we do a year every month, and we just talk about like that slate of films. We're doing 2009 this month, and it was really fun. And we did last month 1991 for Silence of the Lambs, one of the greatest horror films ever made. So horror podcast, had to shout that out. But yeah, that's about it.
All right, guys. So we will see you guys next week. Not going to announce what it is because I'm still not sure where we are with the Buffy thing. I will get that done very soon. I'm almost done with the later half of the season, but I don't know if I'll be able to finish it before next week's episode, but I will try to finish it up. If not, then we'll either do a game or another movie or whatever. So I will let you guys know soon. All right, guys. So I will see you guys next time. Later.